everyone, welcome back to Cooking with Jen. I'm Jen. I'm here with Spectacular Shelby, of course, who is going to help me make a delicious classic white cake. And hopefully you watched the last segment where we did those Mother's Day ribs. Or if you're watching it later, you can call them Father's Day ribs. So you still need a dessert to go with those ribs. So that's why I'm going to make one of my favorite classic white cakes. And Spectacular Shelby here is going to read you the ingredients we're going to need to make this delicious cake.
The ingredients you will be needing for this delicious white cake are 12 tablespoons unsalted softened butter, 1.5 cups of sugar, 2 cups all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 6 large eggs, 3/4 cup of milk. You can use any milk, but we are using whole milk. 2 teaspoons vanilla extract.
Okay, we have a little correction with the ingredients. It is 6 large eggs, but we're only going to be using the egg whites today to keep it white. And the reason why, we're going to do a little fun trick to this cake, and we are going to dye it. Not sure what color yet, but we're going to dye the cake batter before we put it in to bake. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cream together my sugar and my butter. So really all you have to do, you're going to cream this together for a few minutes until it gets light and fluffy. So while that's creaming together, I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees. So that's already nice and warm when all this stuff is mixed together. Cream this together, and I'm going to get my dry ingredients together, which is the flour, the baking powder, the salt, and I'm going to set that aside.
In the distance, he's going for speed. She's all alone.
So like I said, I'm getting my dry ingredients together now. But Shelby has made a list for you of all the ingredients on the video. So while we're doing this, we got to think of a color that we want to dye our cake. Now it is springtime, so you might want to get a nice springy color. And let's see what colors I have here. I've got blue, red, green, and yellow. We can also, if you know your color charts, mix 2 of them together to create our own color. So I'm gonna let Shelby pick the color that she wants to do this cake today. While I'm mixing, you go ahead and think about it because we still have a little time before we have to put the dye into the cake. Now I've got my flour mixture ready, my dry ingredients. Now it's time to crack these eggs and get out the egg whites. Now I think I've showed you before cracking the egg just to get the egg white. You're just gonna crack your egg and kind of go back and forth so you don't get that yellow yolk in there. You want that slimy, gooey stuff. Now, you can also buy egg whites at certain grocery stores where it already comes in a package and it's egg whites. So if you get that and you don't feel like cracking those 6 eggs, this is about 1/3 cup of egg whites you're gonna use. Okay, so now I've got my 3/4 cup of milk. I'm gonna add my egg whites right to the milk as well as my vanilla. All right, so just remember, if you get a little yolk in with your egg whites, it's okay. Never fear, the end is not near. It is okay, because you might get a little bit in there. The only way to really do a true egg white is to buy it from the grocery store, which I might try next time. I have got my butter and sugar creamed together. Now I'm gonna start with a little bit of my dry ingredients, about 1/3 cup at a time. Because just like with any cake, you want to start with flour, end with flour. So I'm going to alternate between flour, liquid, flour, liquid, flour. So I'm going to start with about 1/3 cup of my flour mixture. And start mixing. Add the rest of my flour, but I am going to stop it so I don't get flour everywhere, which I usually do. And also remember, you're going to want to scrape down the sides of your bowl as you're mixing, which I'm going to do now. Now now it's time to dye the cake. And let's see which color Shelby picked out, what she wants to do. All right, Shelby, so what do you want to do? We're going to make this a little interesting, and if it doesn't come out a pretty color, it doesn't come out, but it's always fun to try, right?
Yes.
So what are we going to do here today?
I think I'm going to do green, red, blue, and yellow.
Okay, well, let's do that. I'm going to drop just a few droplets of each color in there, and we're going to mix it up. It's always fun to experiment with new things. So now we're going to give it another quick mix. Shelby, I think I'm going to add a touch more of the red. Okay, so now I've got my batter mixed with it dyed. I would call it a mauve color, which is very spring-like. So what I have here, I have 2 pans because I am going to layer my cake. Otherwise, just use a 9x13 baking pan, but we're just going to use these smaller ones. And as always, we want easy cleanup. So you take that wax paper, put it right in there. Pour half of your cake batter into one pan. We'll spread it around in just a minute. And obviously, what are you going to do with the other half? Put it in the other pan. All right, so now we've got half in each pan. We're just going to kind of even it out. So using 2 baking dishes is just an easy way to make a layered cake, which is what we're going to do because instead of making my own frosting today, I have this super fun funfetti frosting that we're going to use with sprinkles. Any frosting is good, whether you make it, whether you buy it. Frosting is my favorite part of the cake. And we've got some nice vibrant colors that we're going to decorate with later. All right, so now that we've got these evened out, our oven is already preheated to 350 degrees. We're just going to pop these bad boys right into the oven. And you're going to want to bake these little cakes for 25 to 30 minutes. So I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm going to set my timer for, let's call it 27. Then we're going to check on those. And remember, you know when they're done, when they're fork ready, clean fork, inserted. All right, guys, so my timer just went off. I am going to test it with my fork. Clean. Little cakes out of there. Both of them. Fork clean. And remember, if they're not completely fork clean, if you have a little bit of jiggle on there, they still cook as you take them out. So you don't want over-baked cakes. What we're going to do now, we're going to let these little babies cool. Then we're going to come back and we're going to decorate it. And I bought these beautiful tips at the grocery store just for a couple dollars so we can make some pretty decorations on our cake. And now what you can do while they're cooling, because you have that wax paper, you can take it right out and let it cool that way. So it doesn't continue to cook in your baking dish. And look at this. They're still a little hot, so I need my little hot pockers. Easy cleanup. You can't get easier than that.
A quick little intermission. I really want you guys to subscribe to this channel. We are so close to our goal, 100 subscribers by the end of this month. If you like cooking or baking, please subscribe and like this video.
So now our cakes have cooled. And if you want to cool them a little faster, you can put them in the refrigerator for just a little bit until they're a little cold to the touch. You do not want to frost your cakes while they're warm. And I'm going to show you, because we did it on this wax paper and I took it out of the pan, look at that. It comes off wonderfully. Now I have a little cake stand, which I can just decorate right on top of my cake stand. Again, we're looking for easy cleanup. So all you're gonna do, remember we have this fun funfetti frosting, fun colors. Just do one thin layer.
I just wanted you to watch me dissolve slowly in a pool.
So now look, we've got a nice thin layer. And if you don't want that much frosting, you just want to frost the top, something you can do, hopefully you watched our cheesecake episode where I made that delicious strawberry glaze with fresh strawberries, the sugar water. You can put that right in the middle too. And guess what? Pop your top. So in the middle, you're gonna have some delicious strawberries and sugar and glaze. It'll keep that cake moist. I am a sugar freak, love frosting, so I'm doing a double layer of frosting. So I am going to finish frosting my top layer thinly. Now, if you're wondering, what about the sides to that cake? Where's the frosting? This is where our decorating comes into play. So I have these tips. Now I don't have a piping bag. So like before, when I piped out for those cupcakes, I'm just going to use a gallon-sized Ziploc bag. So basically, I took all my little tips out of the wrapper they came in. And what I'm going to use is going to be like kind of a flower tip. And all you have to do with your bag, you're going to just, in the corner, cut a little slit. And you're going to pop your tip right there. Okay? So, you might have to go through a couple bags because I'm going to do half of it pink, half of it purple. So I'm going to start with my purple. Add some in here. We don't need our knife anymore. We can just use a spatula. So now all we have to do, we're gonna take some of our purple. We gotta save some for the end, just remember. And we're gonna stick it in our bag. Squeeze all that air out and watch. All that frosting is gonna go right into your tip. And this is always good if you have somebody that doesn't like a ton of frosting. That's why we're not frosting the sides. And all you have to do, gonna kind of go up with your frosting. Okay, now with our other half, we're gonna do our pink. And I'm gonna use the same spatula because you know what? It's okay if you mix pink and purple. They're both beautiful colors. Okay, so now I've got some pink in there. Remember, we're saving a little bit leftover frosting so that we can decorate our top. And do the same thing like you did with the purple. You know what to do now. You're a pro. And we're just going to go up. Makes a pretty decoration. Gets the frosting. Now, as you can see how this is, we've just done up. Makes it look a little decorated since we're not getting a cake decorated cake today. Now, if you're wondering what we're gonna do to the top, I'm gonna show you. Now, I have a new bag because it got a little messy. You might go through a couple bags this way. If you have a piping bag, that's a lot easier. We don't. So we go through some of these little Ziploc baggies. And I'm gonna do, since my cake is topped in purple, I'm gonna do some little pink buds around the top. Really, all I have to do, just do little toppers, like that.
Skirt and a long jacket.
And I'll tell you the one good thing about doing these little toppers is if you have a little frosting or a little cake showing, these toppers are gonna cover it all up. but we're not done yet. Okay, so now that we've got our frosted cake, we're gonna add a little extra to it. Now I happen to have these writing gels for writing on cakes. So in my best handwriting, which I'll tell you isn't that good, I am going to write Happy Mother's Day, and I'm using yellow to offset the pink and purple.
They crouched at the starting line. Engines pumping and thumping in time. The green light flashes, the flags go up.
I told you my handwriting's not the best, but it works. And a little tip when you're writing on a cake with these gels, you want to write above the cake. It takes a little more time, but you don't want to touch the cake with your tip. And if you bought that delicious Funfetti frosting from the store, it always comes with extra goodies. So if you don't have the piping tip, or you don't know how to decorate your cake, you just throw this stuff everywhere. Funfetti confetti. Little dazzle. So there you go, your Mother's Day cake. All right, so now the moment you've been waiting for. Of course, we have to cut into this cake. I don't want to, but I have to.
All of our hard work.
All right, so now remember we layered it. So we have that little bit of frosting in the middle. Get yourself a nice big glass of milk and eat some cake. Let them eat cake, as they say. And remember, we decorated on my little cake stand. So again, no cleanup. Guess what I have to do? Pop the top again, and I'm gonna eat my cake. I'm trying first. It's Mother's Day. This is my Mother's Day cake. You can never go wrong with cake. Cake and milk. I will let Shelby try this, but it is delicious. It is moist. I love a white cake, even though we dyed it a little bit so it doesn't look white. It is a classic white cake. Now remember those kits that we bought from the grocery store? These are washable. So all you have to do is wash them, keep them stored in a Ziploc bag if you have any left over after decorating this cake, and use them for next time you need to decorate anything. Now, I guess, even though it's Mother's Day, I'm gonna let Shelby try this cake, and I'll let you know what she thinks. All right, Shelby, give it a go.
Okay.
And that's the only place I go, but I go to the store, I go to Mark's, I go down to Family, Giant Eagle, not going to very much.
10 out of 10. Definitely going to try this again.
It's not too far from where I live, I go in.
And happy Mother's Day, Mama.
So there you have it, our classic white cake decorated for Mother's Day. Now I'm gonna run off and I'm gonna finish the rest of my piece of cake with my big glass of milk. Once again, this is Cooking with Jen. I'm Jen. Be kind and subscribe. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.